Meghan caught at LAX with a one-way ticket to Dubai. As Harry sounds the alarm over a missing $12 million, what is unfolding now is being described by multiple insiders as one of the most volatile moments in the post-royal Sussex saga. A convergence of alleged airport sightings, financial panic, and silence so loud it has reignited global scrutiny of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in a way not seen since their departure from royal life. This is not a story about headlines. This is not a story about bad press. This is a story about movement, money, and trust collapsing at the same time. According to multiple independent reports circulating among royal watchers, aviation observers, and individuals claiming proximity to the situation, Meghan Markle was allegedly spotted at Los Angeles International Airport, attempting to leave the United States under circumstances that immediately raised alarm. This was not a routine departure. The ticket, according to these reports, was one way. The destination was Dubai. And within the same narrow window of time, sources claim Prince Harry discovered that approximately $12 million was missing from accounts associated with their shared finances, prompting what insiders describe as frantic calls to legal and financial advisors. No official confirmation has been issued, no court filing has surfaced. Yet. But the alignment of these reports has triggered a storm of speculation, concern, and behind-the-scenes maneuvering that may define the next chapter of the Sussex story. The LAX sighting that sparked everything. Eyewitnesses who claim to have been present at LAX describe a scene that felt rushed, controlled, and notably stripped down. Meghan, they say, was accompanied by minimal visible security, moved quickly through the terminal, and avoided public interaction entirely. This stood out. Typically, high-profile figures operate with layered protection and visible staff, but sources allege that this departure looked different, less managed, more urgent. One individual familiar with airport operations described the situation anonymously. It didn't feel like a scheduled trip. It felt reactive. Again, this alone would mean little, until the destination surfaced. Dubai is not part of Meghan Markle's publicly known professional circuit. No announced events, no confirmed projects, no philanthropic tours, and critically, no return ticket. That detail alone transformed a routine travel rumor into something far more serious. Why Dubai raised immediate red flags. Dubai is a global luxury hub. It is also known for financial discretion, strong privacy laws, and complex jurisdictional boundaries that make tracing assets difficult without cooperation. None of this proves intent. None of this confirms wrongdoing. But context matters. When high-net-worth individuals allegedly depart amid financial disputes, destination becomes narrative. Royal commentators, financial analysts, and former palace aides were quick to note that Dubai is frequently chosen by individuals seeking discretion during periods of personal or legal uncertainty. Whether this alleged travel was strategic, coincidental, or exaggerated remains unclear, but in the court of public opinion, optics often become verdict. The moment Harry allegedly discovered the missing funds. While reports of Meghan's airport presence spread, another story was taking shape quietly, and far more explosively. According to individuals described as close to Prince Harry's advisory circle, the Duke of Sussex allegedly discovered that roughly $12 million had vanished from joint accounts connected to the couple's finances. This discovery, sources claim, triggered urgent outreach to lawyers and financial professionals. $12 million is not administrative error territory. It is not a delayed transfer explanation. It is not an overlooked expense. If these reports are accurate, this would represent a discrepancy large enough to demand immediate forensic accounting. Sources stress that no accusation has been formally made, but concern allegedly centered on lack of awareness. The suggestion was not necessarily theft, but movement without consent or clarity. And that distinction matters, because financial trust is foundational in any partnership, especially one under public and professional strain. A marriage already showing cracks. Long before this alleged crisis, observers had been documenting signs of strain within the Sussex marriage. These included increasingly separate appearances, diverging public messaging, conflicting narratives around privacy versus publicity, financial pressure following underperforming or canceled deals. None of these confirm marital collapse, but collectively, they paint a picture of a partnership navigating sustained stress. Several commentators have noted that money disputes often accelerate existing fractures, especially when compounded by public scrutiny. If Harry believed funds were moved without his knowledge, the emotional and legal implications could be profound. Understanding the Sussex financial structure. Since stepping back from royal duties, Harry and Meghan have operated through a complex network of entities, foundations, contracts, and personal accounts. These reportedly include, joint and individual banking structures, business revenue streams from media deals, charitable entities, intellectual property agreements. In such arrangements, financial authority can become blurred, particularly when one partner handles operational logistics and the other remains less involved. Several former advisors to high-profile couples have noted that financial asymmetry often becomes visible only during moments of crisis. If one partner believes they lack oversight, trust erodes quickly. Silence from the Sussex camp and why it matters. As the reports gained traction, media inquiries intensified. As of now, no official statement has been released addressing the alleged LAX sighting, the one-way ticket to Dubai, the reported missing funds. In crisis communications, silence is often strategic. It can also indicate uncertainty. A former crisis PR executive explained, "When lawyers are still figuring out what's real, you don't talk, but silence always fuels speculation." And speculation has exploded. The role of advisors, lawyers, and damage control. Sources suggest that legal teams on both sides of the Atlantic are closely monitoring the situation. While no filings have surfaced publicly, the alleged involvement of financial advisors implies internal review is underway. If discrepancies exist, they would likely be addressed privately first through audits, reconciliation, and internal negotiation. However, if trust has fractured beyond repair, legal separation of finances becomes inevitable. And once that happens, privacy becomes far harder to maintain. What happens? If this becomes legal, should this situation escalate, potential outcomes could include formal forensic accounting, civil litigation over asset control, public disclosure of financial arrangements, separation of joint ventures, custody considerations. None of these have occurred yet. But insiders stress that once financial disputes cross a certain threshold, they rarely remain private. Why this moment feels different? Harry and Meghan have weathered scandals before. Interviews, memoirs, documentaries, public backlash. But those were narrative battles. This, if substantiated, would be structural. Money is harder to spin than words. Movement is harder to explain than intentions. And when both happen simultaneously, damage multiplies. Public reaction and the polarization effect. Predictably, reaction has split sharply. Supporters argue the reports are exaggerated, misogynistic, or deliberately misleading. Critics argue the timing is too precise to ignore. Both sides agree on one thing: the lack of clarity is dangerous. In today's information ecosystem, silence doesn't slow stories. It accelerates them. Where this leaves the Sussex brand. For years, Harry and Meghan positioned themselves as a united front, emotionally, professionally, and financially. If that unity fractures publicly, the implications extend far beyond personal matters. Brand partnerships, credibility, future deals, and public trust all hang in the balance. This moment could determine whether the Sussex story stabilizes or collapses under its own weight. Final assessment. As of now, everything remains alleged. No charges, no confirmations, no official accusations. But the convergence of these reports, airport sightings, sudden international movement, financial alarm, and strategic silence, has created a situation too serious to dismiss. If even part of this narrative is substantiated, it would represent the most severe internal crisis the Sussexes have faced since leaving royal life. And if it is not addressed clearly and quickly, the damage may already be done. Because in the end, reputations are not destroyed by rumors alone. They are destroyed by unanswered questions. Inside the money, how the Sussex finances allegedly became a pressure cooker. To understand why the alleged disappearance of $12 million triggered such immediate alarm, it is necessary to look beneath the public image of the Sussexes and into the financial machinery that has powered their post-royal life. From the moment Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped back from royal duties, money became more than a necessity. It became the backbone of their independence, their leverage, and their future. Freedom from the crown came with a price tag, and that price was always going to be high. According to royal finance observers, the Sussexes were forced to build almost overnight a financial ecosystem that most former royals never attempt. This included media contracts, private security expenses, international tax considerations, charitable foundations, and complex personal and joint banking arrangements spread across multiple jurisdictions. It was ambitious. It was risky. And insiders say it was always vulnerable to stress. Who controlled the purse strings? Multiple sources familiar with celebrity financial arrangements claim that within the Sussex household, financial roles were not evenly distributed. While Prince Harry brought inherited wealth, brand recognition, and royal connections, Meghan was reportedly more involved in day-to-day operational decisions. This dynamic is not unusual in modern partnerships, particularly when one partner has greater experience navigating contracts, negotiations, and commercial strategy, but it can become combustible when transparency breaks down. Several former advisors to high-profile couples have stated that financial asymmetry often becomes invisible until a crisis exposes it. One person handles logistics, the other assumes oversight. And suddenly, when money appears to move unexpectedly, trust collapses. If Prince Harry believed that significant funds were relocated without his explicit understanding, even temporarily, the emotional fallout would be immediate. The alleged discovery, why timing matters. According to reports circulating among royal watchers and legal observers, the alleged discovery of missing funds did not occur gradually. It was sudden. Sources claim Prince Harry expected access to certain accounts and discovered a discrepancy that could not be immediately explained by advisors. This is crucial. Financial panic rarely stems from losses alone, it stems from surprise. Had this been a planned transfer, a known investment, or a documented expense, alarm would not have spread so quickly. The issue, according to these claims, was uncertainty. And uncertainty is poison in financial partnerships. Joint accounts, separate realities. Since leaving royal life, Harry and Meghan are believed to have operated with a mix of joint personal accounts, individual private accounts, business-linked accounts, trust-related assets, foundation-managed funds. In such systems, money can legally move in ways that appear alarming if not clearly communicated. But insiders stress that perception becomes reality when clarity disappears. If Harry was not fully briefed, or believed he was not, then the issue shifts from accounting to trust. And trust, once damaged, is difficult to repair. Why $12 million is a flashpoint? The number itself matters. $12 million is not symbolic, it is substantial enough to represent a major investment transfer, a liquidity move, asset restructuring, emergency relocation of funds, or preparation for long-term separation. Again, none of this confirms wrongdoing, but financial experts note that sums of this size typically require explicit planning, documentation, and consent. When that consent is questioned, everything changes. The role of advisors. Too many cooks? Another issue repeatedly raised by insiders is the sheer number of advisors involved in the Sussex ecosystem. Lawyers in multiple countries, financial planners with different mandates, business managers overseeing separate revenue streams. When coordination fails, gaps appear. One former wealth manager for ultra-high net worth clients explained it bluntly. When too many advisors operate in silos, clients lose visibility. That's when panic happens. If Harry contacted his legal team believing something was wrong, it suggests he either lacked information or believed information was being withheld. The psychological impact on Prince Harry. Those familiar with Harry's personal history emphasize that financial betrayal, real or perceived, would hit him particularly hard. He has spoken openly about trust issues, loss, and feeling controlled by systems he did not fully understand. Money in that context is not just currency, it is autonomy. If Harry believed control over shared assets was slipping away, the response would likely be immediate and emotional. And that may explain the urgency reported in those alleged calls. Meghan's alleged departure revisited. When viewed through this lens, the reported LAX sighting takes on new significance. If Meghan was indeed traveling to Dubai at that precise moment, observers argue the optics become devastating, even if the move was entirely innocent. Dubai represents discretion, distance, jurisdictional complexity. Critics argue that, fair or not, it looks like separation in motion. Supporters counter that this interpretation is reckless, noting that Meghan has previously traveled internationally without incident and that privacy is often misread as secrecy. Both positions collide at the same point: timing. Was this a strategic retreat or a coincidence? Some analysts have suggested that the alleged trip could have been planned well in advance, unrelated to any financial issue. Others argue the opposite, that the alignment is too precise to dismiss. The truth may lie somewhere in between. High-profile individuals often operate on layered timelines. Plans overlap, crises erupt, and coincidences happen. But once a narrative takes hold, reversing it becomes nearly impossible. The silence that deepens suspicion. As speculation intensified, one element became impossible to ignore: the continued silence from Sussex representatives. In previous controversies, responses were often swift, decisive, and narrative-driven. This time, there was nothing. No denial, no clarification, no reassurance. Legal analysts suggest this could indicate ongoing internal review. Public statements once issued become liabilities if facts later shift. But silence also feeds the very speculation it seeks to contain. Financial separation, the point of no return. Insiders warn that if Harry and Meghan begin formally separating finances, even temporarily, it would signal a major turning point. Financial disentanglement often precedes legal restructuring, business separation, personal distance, or marital breakdown. Again, none of this is confirmed. But the patterns are familiar to those who have watched high-profile relationships unravel. What this could mean for their future deals. Media partners, sponsors, and collaborators watch stories like this closely. Financial instability, real or rumored, creates risk. Risk reduces value. If the Sussex brand is perceived as fractured, future deals could be delayed, renegotiated, or abandoned altogether. This is why insiders say the stakes here extend far beyond personal drama. An empire built on unity. Harry and Meghan sold unity. Joint interviews. Shared narratives. A collective mission. If that unity is questioned, the entire structure weakens. And money, more than public opinion, is often where unity is tested. Where the story goes from here. As of now, everything remains alleged. No audit has been made public. No legal filing confirmed. No official statement issued. But insiders agree on one point: once financial trust is questioned, the relationship is never the same. In the next section, the focus shifts outward to the potential legal consequences, international implications, and why some believe this situation could trigger scrutiny far beyond the Sussex household. Because if money moved and questions remain unanswered, institutions may eventually get involved. And once that happens, privacy disappears,